Today is December 14th, 2016. It is 12:20 p.m. This is Luciana Spraker, representing the City of Savannah's Research Library and Municipal Archives. I am interviewing Mr. Johnnie Powers for the City of Savannah's Carver Village History Roundup Days project. We are conducting this interview at the historic Carver Village Community Center. Today we'll be discussing the history of the Carver Village neighborhood and the surrounding community. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Powers. Can I start by asking you to state your full name?
Johnnie F. Powers, Jr.
Okay. And do you mind telling us when you were born?
11/11/27. 1927.
And where were you born?
Effingham County, Egypt, Effingham County.
When did you move to Savannah?
Well, when I was a baby, small, 3, 4.
Where did you grow up in Savannah?
In the west side community.
When did you move to the Carver Village area?
In 1964.
1964. I believe you mentioned some special stuff about your house. Can you tell us the story of your house?
Yes, the story of the house is that they were, back in that day, we were living in frame housing, no toilet, outside bath facilities, no toilets, and had to cook by fireplace and heaters, tin heaters, that's how we heated. And then later, the urban renewal program came in and they tore down all of the frame houses that we lived in. And then the material, brick fireplaces were left. So for harvest, and they recycled those later, and they were incorporated in building the modern houses. And we were able to get some of those brick that came out of the fireplaces, and they were laid in the houses just as they came out of it looked when they came out of the chimney. And that's why they have the pattern, this black spotted pattern on them. And then some of those brick were mixed with Savannah gray brick. And I learned from a bricklayer that the Indians made those, and they never could figure out how they were made, the formula. So we were able to add those to our construction we built from the ground. And my wife and I, we had 4 sons, and they all attended Pearl Lee Smith School, which is now standing at the present site. And they all went to college, and they were musicians that taught them music, and that also kept them in the house. I knew where they were at night because I could hear them on the piano, and that gave me a peace of mind because I had to get up early in the morning and go to work, and I knew when they were in the house, and they stayed out of trouble. And they all got jobs. And we went into ministry, been pastoring for 48 years. And my wife is deceased, but we're still pastoring now at the present time in Liberty City.
Let me go back to the house. The original frame house that was torn down, where was that located?
I was located up in Gwinnett Street area where the Masonry Y is. All those houses were frame buildings. In the Masonry area where the Y is, where the school is up Gaston School, all that area was frame slum area. It was slum area, and outside the bathrooms and all that. They tore all of that down from from MLK all the way down to Carverville Village. They had those frame buildings.
Were you living there at the time, or was
I
your...
lived up on West Gwinnett Street.
Yeah.
West Gwinnett Street, that's where I lived.
Did you
My
consider
family.
it slums when you were living there?
No, I didn't consider slum because I was, I was, 8, 9 years old. I had no idea what slum was. I grew up in that community.
So what are your memories of growing up there as a child?
As a child, I remember playing baseball, football, and skating, and in the streets, riding bikes and stuff like that. And games, playing softball and all that. Yeah. And they had games back there called with Rick Rack. They used to hit the ball like this, but they don't do that in the yo-yo. They had all those kind of games. We just participated in whatever game we could get into. Jack Stones, the girls would play Jack Stone and they throw the ball up and they'd kiss and play. Those kind of games that we had in that day and time, we don't have now.
How did you feel when they tore down all those houses as a child?
As a child, I went in the military, but I felt, I went along progress. I thought that was a good idea because of the lack of facilities, inside facilities. And, they had running water, but it was outside. And I thought that was a plus. And the washing machines, they used to wash in the tubs back in those days. All the clothes would hung outside. They used those large tin tubs, 1, 2, 3 to wash, rinse, and all that. They hang everything out on in the yard. And so I thought that was progress. GE said progress is the most important product. I thought that was a good idea for the urban manure process.
Okay. And when you built your new house, where is it located?
On the Wexler and Winburn. We were blessed to build it from the ground and to see how the brickwork would go in, and some of the windows and the doors and all that came out of the old buildings. While the brick masons were laying the brick, you could harvest the old doors, French doors and windows, and set them in place, and they would brick around them while the building was going up, and the windows came out of the houses that was torn down. So they salvaged all of those, all the brick, the doors, a lot of the material were able to go into the new construction. And so we have all of that history around in the building.
So you still have a connection to your old home?
Old school and the new. They just come together, blend together. And so that was a plus. I always remember that, how that came together. I thought it was good they were able to use the old, because it seemed like people had a tendency to discard the old, but the old still works along with the new, and it looks better. It looks different from some of the other brick. Yeah.
So you've been a resident of Carver Village now since 1960s. What are some of your favorite memories of Carver Village?
Favorite memories?
Or what makes Carver Village special?
Oh, okay. That's a good Carver Village. I think the unity in the community. They are friendly and everybody seems like they mind their own business and we agree greet each other and feel comfortable. It's quiet and peaceful, and we just enjoy working. And it seems like when one do something, then the others seem like they want to follow the pattern. Cleaning up, cutting the grass, trimming the grass, and so forth. Like that, seems like we get a cooperative, have a good feeling to see somebody want to paint up and clean up, make things look better. And that's what I've been trying to do with our home. So far.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
And we were also able to come up with an invention. Through all of that process over the years, we were able to come up with an invention of patio furniture that also have a history behind it. Chairs that come together, built without nails and screws, and fold up, and you can store it and carry it around. That too came out of the concept. The concept came out from Africa, where they didn't have any hand tools or machinery, but they were able to construct chairs and furniture out of limbs, put them together with vines, and sit in.
So when you said we invented, do you mean you and your family or people in the neighborhood?
My family.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Anything else?
Well, I think that's about all, except I was able to do a CD. I was able to, blessed to do a CD. And,
Is that related to your ministerial work?
yeah, the ministerial work, yeah, too. So that's one of the highlights.
Are you attached to one of the local churches?
Yes. I pastor Richfield Missionary Baptist Church, Liberty City,
Okay.
1415 Arcadian Street.
Wonderful. How long have you been there?
48 years this year. 48 years. And I've been in the ministry since 1951, teaching ministry.
You mentioned you were in the military.
Yeah.
Was that, how did you serve in that capacity?
I went in the Air Force in 1946, came out in 1949. Served 3 years in the military. And I'm retired from the U.S. Postal Service. 30 years in the U.S. Postal Service. And so
I have to ask you, the city is working on the W.W. Law collection, and he was in the Postal Service for many years. Did you work with him?
Worked along with W.W. Law. Yeah, he was one of my scoutmasters.
Oh, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was young then, and well, he was a good leader as far as training young scouts, young boys, and he had a deep interest in guiding the youth at that time, and I was able to. In other words, like a role model, and I was interested in learning how to, some of the techniques the scouts would learn, and going out in the woods and working with different tie knots, how to tie knots and different things, and being a good scout and a good citizen. And I just had pride, and it was just, I was uplifted by the things that a scout could do, similar to what in the military, what a soldier would do. So I enjoyed being with other scouts and making friends like that. And learned a lot from W.W. Law. Yeah, he was quite a scholar, and so that's about one of the main during the young days what inspired me, Boy Scouts. And I try to pass that on to my sons. It's Cub Scouts and work up to the Boy Scouts. And from that, I wanted to go in the military. I was inspired to go into the military later.
The Boy Scouts inspired you to join the military? When you were in his group, did you meet at the Bryan Street Baptist Church?
We met at the First African Baptist Church back in that day. That's where the troop met. So we worked out of there in the church.
Would this have been in the mid-40s then, right before you went into the Air Force?
Yeah, we're back in the mid-40s, back in the let's see, 39, somewhere back, a little further back.
Okay.
Yeah, 40s. Yeah, back in that time. So I went in the Army in 46. So we enjoyed being and working along with Mr. Law. Yeah. I saw him many days carrying his on the job. We were on the job together.
You walked a postal route as well, was that your job?
No, I was a truck driver. So for 30 years we worked for the Postal Service, retired in '89, and we've been ministering ever since.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. Thank
Good.
you.